Welcome to my podcast, The Elegance of Souls. Theos is grounded in our journey being a cultural revelation as opposed to a religious one. It is tailored to help reveal to you a unique culture, to engage you and equip you with tools for your unique journey. In the highs and the lows, in the utterly amazing and the desperately ugly, Theos will, I hope, continuously connect you with that peace that comes from within and inspire with clarity for your journey.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another conversation on the elegance of souls. We are starting our new series, Pacesetters, and I'm really excited to introduce our guest today. Her name is Anita Frost. This series is about learning how we set some of those really amazing goals for ourselves, and alongside that, learning how we take care of ourselves, because at the end of the day, it's who we are becoming that is really the reward. So I want us to get into this conversation with Anita because I think she's such a brilliant example that I've been watching from afar for so long. Anita Frost, welcome to the conversation.
Hello, great to be with you today. Thank you so much for the warm welcome.
Anita is a multi-award winning author. She's an entrepreneur and the founder of Green Bean Studios. And Anita's going to tell us a little bit about Green Beans, but just to give you a few highlights, she's got extensive professional background in child development and business industries. Anita has been working with a talented team of professionals, and together they've created precious moments for children and families through a fun educational range of books, toys, games, music, and TV productions. Green Beans has also been awarded several honors and awards over the last couple of years. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just to mention a few, we've got Innovate UK Inclusive Innovation Award winner for 2023. They've also won an award for Creative Enterprise Evolve Cohort 2023. And they've also got an award for Best Children's Books and Toys Collection, Northern Enterprise Awards 2021. Anita, I'm going to hand over to you. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you've managed to gather all these awards and, accolades with your team at Green Beans.
Oh, thank you for such a warm intro and all those little highlights as well. It's been an incredible time of growth for us as a business and, an industry. So Green Bean Studios is based in Media City. And as a team, we've been able to just sit in this multifaceted space, in a space where we know children are really falling behind. It's a serious matter. Our kids are struggling with multi-levels of different areas. We have little ones struggling with their speech, their identity. We have child obesity, and children are falling behind in an academic space because tech is growing so fast and it is so disposable that actually the core skills that our kids need to grow and thrive and know who they are and become amazing future workforce has really taken a hit. So there was a massive gap in the market. And for myself, my first level up in life was child development. I love kids. I get kids. I've been studying children in all the different industries. Anyway, after redundancy and finding myself in a space of becoming self-employed, independent, did I then kind of unleash these hidden gifted skills that I had, which was business. So I found my love for business. I found this because every time I was in a workplace, I worked my way up quite quickly. If anything, I irritated the workforce because I was always leading things forward. I was a change maker. I was kind of hit the ground and make things change. And not everybody wants that. Anyway, I found who I was. I knew that business was my thing and kids was my thing. And when you're in school, right, no one ever says to you, like, you can have a children's brand, you can be, a children's entertainment ambassador and develop that to change society. That's not what's on the career tick chart, right? And because of all the experience and all the fallings and the failings, it's accelerated our growth as a business, because sometimes people think you just shown up, but actually we don't. There's years of stuff going on behind the scene. We are seeing, recognition. We're seeing connectivity. We're creating things that are having impact because of the backstory. And that's not just my backstory, it's the team as well. So it's been an incredible year. And I would say we're just getting started. Some of our challenges as a Black female founder has been getting access to resource, because we know we've got a good thing, or people don't fund things they can't see. And if they are going to fund, they're going to fund who's familiar. So I don't look like Mark Zuckerberg. I really don't look like Elon Musk. So when I step into a space where people are talking money and transactions for investment, then they're just literally going to go, who are you? You're a female founder. You've got this awesome afro. You're saying all these great things, but actually you're not familiar. So we've had to fight to get a hold of investment, to grow, to do the things we're doing. But we've created the most incredible community, because these are issues that are real to families, to parents, to grandparents, and customers and consumers get behind those real issues. As much as they love entertainment, and good film and wholesome media, when you've got real life issues on the back of it, people are interested and they want to support that. So we've got a great customer base from the UK, the USA, Ireland, Scotland, and they are all behind what Green Bean is about. It's about our kids. And now we're moving in this TV and media space. We just want to continue doing.
I know. Just hold on there, Anita. Let's not jump the gun. I love the way you've laid everything out and helping the listeners understand the fact that you're where you are. There was a foundation that was being built. There was, like you mentioned, the redundancy that took you into that space of searching yourself a bit deeper to understand what is it I want to do in this space now, given all the things that I know. Because even in working for employers, you gathered a lot of knowledge, isn't it? You gathered a lot of skill and all that experience. You think, okay, what do I do with this? That, I guess, combined with your passion, then became this thing you started working on. What I wanted to ask, Green Beans is in a space where you're doing books. You're a writer. You've written books for kids. You've created toys and a space where kids can develop and express themselves, etc. And now you're moving into this space of media. When you first started, is this what you envisioned, or has it sort of morphed along the way?
Absolutely. There's definitely, I had we call it 360 in the entertainment industry, which is where you've got an idea and it can move the whole space. So intellectual property itself is something that can move in more than one space, which then becomes multi-revenue. So I knew that Green Bean as a character and the world that Green Bean lived in and Green Bean's friends could be more than just about storytelling. It could be a play aspect, which means that the characters in the world they live in could develop a whole toy range. I could see and hear, I can hear these characters moving in a space where they would dance and they would play. There's music and there's joy and all of that submersiveness. And then also I can see these characters playing out on the screen, from a cartoon to live action. I can see all of those things. And then the challenge is when you do have vision, whether it's a vision for one thing, two things, three things, fashion line, whatever it is, it's then getting that off the ground. Because ultimately, if I said, guys, I've got a vision for a Green Bean and its friends, people are going to go, weirdo. But you have to cultivate, and that's the disciplines, and that's the bit where you grow in what you're growing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so good. The 3 pillars of Green Bean Studios are kids, earth, and community. How did you develop those core values for Green Beans?
Great question. And you know what? That wasn't an easy thing to simplify. When you've got vision, you've got ideas, especially if you're creative, entrepreneurial. I'm dyslexic, so my words and writing, they don't come out, but I can talk for a long time. So I had to bring in a consultant who is a tone of voice expert, and it was the most powerful exercise we could do as a brand. I knew we were about kids, I knew we were about earth, and I knew we were about community. But sometimes I couldn't just stay in those points. I had so many other layers to do. So I do recommend this to anybody starting a business or building a brand, especially a brand, that you spend time with people getting it all out. It's almost like, you know, if you're doodling or even if you're writing, you've got to get those ideas out. So I said everything about who we are, what we stand for. And she helps me and key people in the team, our leadership team, to craft that inner space to get down to what is the core places that we focus, and then all the little shoots that come off it. So earth, it's about the earth that we live in. It's about the characters where they live. It's about, we've got a problem. We've destroyed our earth. So how do we fix it? And then kids is our focus point. So our homing in is early years. But as a brand, our music, some of the toys are loved by children that are older. Adults love Green Bean. Adults buy the Green Bean toy, soft toy, and gift it to a friend who maybe needs cheering up. And then community is what changes society. We see brands and they're big, huge global brands doing what they're doing, but ultimately it's about the consumer, and our communities in every space of the globe are struggling in different ways. Yeah. And families are feeling the pressure. Our kids are not heard and seen. They're exposed to things that are destroying who they are, and communities can change society.
Sometimes when we're in that creative space, it's almost like we want to nurse that thing forever. But it's important to bring a different perspective, see it in a way that you hadn't seen it before. Wondering along, your journey, how much have you had to work on building capacity? Because like we've already mentioned, Green Beans is now in a space that, you hadn't initially anticipated. It's grown, and lots of things coming out, because obviously it's bearing lots of good fruits. So you need to meet the growing demand. So that requires a lot of capacity. How did you make that happen?
Yeah, and it's a true story, right? Whether you're a founder or you're a leader or you're part of a team, you have to bring your best into that to be able to make it work. And then we all only have 7 days a week. It's not like entrepreneurs have 12 days in a week and everyone else is getting the short straw. And you have to give yourself grace. You have to really focus. You have to be disciplined. You have to self-care. You have to learn to say some really healthy no's. You also have to receive some really healthy no's. And I always say to people, if you get a no, turn it the other way. What does it spell? And it spells on, which means like just to move on from things. So every year,
I heard that one before.
You love that. Every year, I will cultivate my diary to be in accordance to what my heart is tuned in to, what I need to be doing. So last year, my diary was focused on the fact that we were creating a new animation series. We were developing new eco lines. That's where the focus needed to stay. And within that focus, I needed to ensure that my well-being was great, that my family is great, that I'm taking time for holidays, that even if I'm creating a book and a toy that I'm totally wildly passionate in love with, if it's now 8 o'clock in the evening, walk away. Walk right away. And then sometimes there is the seasons where I'll do a month where it's crazy hours, crazy anything. That's the pushing through season. Sometimes you've got to push like you've never pushed before through something, but that can't be every season and it can't be all the time, especially when we're raising investment. I have to push like I've never pushed before. And then other times I'll rest really, really well, which means I might not hit the office till 10 and I might walk away from the office till 4. So it's understanding the season that you're in. Yeah. And giving your diary space to say, this is a commitment for this today. Turning an alarm on your phone as well, saying I'm clocking on at 10 and I'm going to do writing from 10 till 1. No disruptions. Putting about 6 drinks at your desk 2 toilet breaks and homing in and doing that, but that's not every day.
Sometimes when we set some of these things, it's easy to put it all on paper and say, this is what I'm going to do. But how did that then gel with family priorities, your kids and your husband? And how did that all work? Because they need to be involved in that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And family come first. The joy I'm definitely in is that my son is older. He's 17. And I know when I first went into entrepreneurship, because I've had businesses before, Green Bean, is that it was tough. Like, they are the toughest days and you can't navigate away from that. And I really encourage women and men who are in startup businesses, who have small children, who are potentially primary school or early years of high school. There is certain things that your kids and your partner and your family are going to walk through that you have to be sensitive to. And when I first started out in business, I was working nights and doing the business to try and, because you don't forget, you go into business and you still got your bills, you still got your mortgage, you still got your overhead. These things don't disappear because you go, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. In fact, if anything, you've really got to get a grip of all those things. So yeah, look at what you can achieve. I always say to early families, I've got little ones, if you can only achieve working on your business for 7 hours a week, then, commit to those 7 hours and then multiply 7 times 4. That's how many hours you've got in a month to work on your business. That might be for a year, and that's fine. Don't ever do the comparison, because that's where you put an arrow in your own heart if you look at what someone else is doing and not just be happy that you have space to achieve one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You understand that family is a priority, and obviously kids of a certain age do make it a bit more demanding if you're an entrepreneur. So yeah, really good business tips there for parents with younger ones. In terms of your book, it seems to me when I met you and we had a very brief conversation, I felt like that was where it all started from, the writing. Was that where it started from for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you get a vision and ideas, you have to get that down on paper. And the journey for me was, I'd already wrote business books. If anything, every part of the journey that has been unfolding for me, I'm writing it down or I'm teaching it to other people. So I'm teaching it to teams. We bring in a lot of interns, work experience opportunities, because it's an infectious space, isn't it? When great things are happening, you want to play TIG. You want someone else to catch it. You want someone else to be able to be blessed and advance forward quicker than what you're doing. And not all of us have always had that. And I know that I've been part of the most incredible supportive family. But in the world of education and careers, there was no people celebrating me. There was only a few. Those few, I absolutely took a hold of that, because we need to pass it on. So the writing started from a place of, so I wrote a book called Dream the Impossible Dreams, because I'd gone from being made redundant to finding myself in a place where I unlocked things. I unlocked how to budget. I unlocked how to drive a business forward, how to hire teams. I needed to share that. Wow. So I wrote that down. That went into a book.
And then I thought about your own.
Yeah. And then I
think so people stay stuck in employment roles trying to get that kind of experience. But I love the fact that you've pointed out you can actually just go out and get that experience yourself. You can train yourself up to manage teams on your own, in your own space.
Yeah, definitely. It's serving others. If you can serve other people well, you'll 100% do well in business. Yeah. And if you can't serve other people well, then there's things that you've got to work on to be able to get that.
That's great, Anita. So in terms of books, are you working on anything new? So it seems you've done a fair bit of writing. Are you working on anything new?
Yeah, really excited. So come April, May this year, we get to release a new book and a new toy. And these are game changers. They really are. It's taking storytelling to a different place. So that's a little reveal for you there. Ooh. And it's also taking play to a different place. So we've got two awesome new releases in the spring this year to take into the early years market. I'm always developing something. Have a book where you just put ideas down. I get so many ideas. Some of them are good and they're supposed to lead forward, and others, I don't know, they might come 2-3 years from now. Some may never surface.
No, it's good to hear about your journey with books, because I think that's always the beginning of almost like something new, a new space that you might be going into, which leads me to thinking about some of the more innovative things that you're doing now with Green Beans, like the fact that you're going into TV productions. That's a new space for you, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Brand new.
How are you managing to change your pace in all of this? Because the series is obviously about how we manage pace, and there've been so many changes along your journey with Green Bean. So just hearing how you're now going into this new space where you have to do what you've learned.
Yeah, every time you're going into a new space, sometimes you've got to unlearn what you've just last learned, because the space is going to redefine you. So because we're multifaceted, designing a book and going into publishing is completely different to toy development, innovation, eco-development, supply chain, and entertainment industry is completely different again. And I really wouldn't be like recommending everybody in the world to do what we've done. You genuinely have to be doing what you're called to do and do that really, really well. So going into entertainment, it's like unlearning a lot of those other industry spaces to relearn again. But then there's some greatness in not knowing, because the naivety can be an advantage, because sometimes people, when they're too long in an industry, they've overcooked.
Yeah.
So then there's hindrances. So it's, you know, we're going into this space and we're bold, we're courageous, we're really for it. But at the same time, we're not going to be infected that we haven't already been there for 20 years.
No, that's so true. It reminds me kind of my own journey as well. I've been a finance professional for over 15 years. I've worked in private, public sector, and now coming into this author space and trying to build up a platform around my writing has been a completely different ball game. And I think exactly like you said, there's some things you might have to unlearn, you know, and there's that posture of, I guess, humility you need to take, because you're learning something new, because there are things you don't understand about that industry. And so you have to have, you know, a receptive heart to learning, and be sensible, have the right mentors as well, who can safeguard you in a space that you're not completely familiar with. Which brings me to the point, have you got any mentors right now, Anita? Because you seem to be so brilliant at doing what you do. I can't imagine anyone telling you how to do it.
You know, I failed forward, and an honest conversation is I've had the worst teachers, and that has been the best for me. I've had so many people not be for me, not even hear me, not see me, not encourage me, but I learned to flip those things over. And that's not like victimhood, because victimhood would keep you bound to the floor. It's a case of knowing within yourself that how people speak and talk to you, are you feeding me, or am I learning from you how not to behave? And I've been around a lot of people that have shown me how not to behave. The biggest thing that has spurred me on is my parents have been all for me. They have always encouraged me. Even when I'm failing, they've encouraged me, because they know who I am, and they know what I'm about, and they know what's in me. And that has been a great advantage, and it's resilience.
So you would say that they've been your mentors. It sounds like that they've been your mentors on your journey, even through, you know, starting your business to writing your books, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
Not everyone can actually boast of their parents being a mentor for them, because they could be going into an industry that their parents don't approve of or have no understanding of. Yeah. So I think that's awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah. Encouragement's everything. We need to do it more in society, is just above all things, encourage one another above all things, you know, and now definitely starting to hear from people in different industries that give me little nuggets, which have been golden gems. And there's definitely more investors that I've had conversations with that are helping shaping things, because once you do break ground and you do break to the surface, it does create a shift, and people start to support and encourage and get behind.
Yeah. What do you think you're learning about yourself, Anita, in this space? As in, what are you learning about the woman that you're becoming? Because you're achieving so much, doing so much, many amazing things. But I think sometimes when we go about setting goals, we fixate on them and we lose sight of who we're becoming. Sometimes I'm not saying that's what we want to happen. Obviously, it's not what we want. So how do you keep sight of that, the woman that you're becoming? How do you keep that close? Yeah,
I'd say know, and it sounds like a real business cheesy thing to say, know your why, but your why is the thing that is going to drive you, and mine is to serve our kids globally. That is the thing that drives me. So if I'm in a meeting with an investor who is obnoxious and rude, or a supplier or an opportunity in industry, I know the reason I'm there, and their comments are not going to stop the fact that we have a massive need, and I know that we have something that is making a change in society. Yeah. So from that, the why for me is a humanity why. So that humbles me, that influences the way that I service and reach people, the conversations I have, the tone I want to leave. You know, either people see you in the room and they're intimidated by you, which means that they're not going to be my cheerleader, they're not for me, or you're going in the room to make change. And if you can go in a room and come out and make change, then that's everything.
That's so good, Anita. I was also thinking about how you manage stress on a day-to-day basis, because I know we've talked about self-care, you've touched on that, managing your pace, but what are maybe some of the top tips you'd give anyone about, managing stress or taking good care of themselves in their very busy lives as entrepreneurs or whatever they're doing?
Is to stay away from the things that you're not good at. We've got some incredible people in our team, and one of the people who really helps shape me and reduces my anxiety is my editor, because of my dyslexia. If I spend too long in words, I actually experience a level of stress, which people will say, well, you're a writer, it makes no sense. But actually, I write in small bursts and it's effective. It's fresh from my mind. But then if it's on paper and that went straight to the publishers, they'll be like, what is that? Because it needs somebody to come around it. So, and in the world of business where communication is emails, and, it might be different documents that you've got to get your communications out. I need someone to help shape my words as quickly and as authentic as they can. Reduces massive layers of stress for me. The other one is finance. I'm responsible as the founder of a business, but I'm not financially astute. I can budget well, and I can absolutely honor a pound, and I can grow small seed massively because we've been underinvested in. So I've learned that's become a skill, but certain layers will produce anxiety for me because I'm in the middle of developing a book, or I'm in the middle of developing a toy, or the team are out on the field, and then I'm having this financial conversation, and I know in myself, my breath, my heart, I'm feeling a layer of stress. And then someone's going to get that. Either I'm going to get infected because of that stress, or I'm going to be not nice to somebody. So then it's learning that I will not take any financial calls from our bookkeepers, our accountants, our financial team if this thing's going on. I will clock off, go for a walk, and then pick that up.
Yeah.
Because of my mental health. And it's just knowing what your triggers are and how they leave you. Same with investors. When I go and spend a series of time raising investment, that infects me because there's a lot of pompous investors. They don't care about the kids. They care about the money. And these aren't people we are not going to then work with, but I have to filter those conversations.
Yeah.
And ideally, you're going to stress me out if you don't care about kids.
No. You made some points there, Anita, about staying away from things that you're not very good at, or more importantly, finding people who can help you do those things. Like you say, you're not necessarily good at the finance, but you will honor a pound. If you're told this is what you need to do, you'll do it. But having to manage all of it in detail is not really your forte, and that's fine, because there are people who can do those sort of things. And I've heard this on another conversation somewhere, where a woman was talking to entrepreneurs about getting their business going. Don't be afraid to get people to help you do what you need done. And I think that's the thing with creative people, with entrepreneurs, business. It's almost like we want to do everything. We want to, be in control of everything. And sometimes it's good to take a step back, figure out what you're really good at, focus on that, and allow others to focus on other things. And that's what makes a really great team, isn't it?
Absolutely. Joy. You get joy then.
We're coming to the end of the conversation. I'm so surprised how quickly the time has gone, Anita. But I just wanted to get maybe some final tips from you about, how we can, take good care of ourselves and keep pace. So you've talked about managing stress, but in terms of what do you then do to, I guess, get refreshed? How do you inhale and then exhale? What are the things that you do along that journey of keeping pace? Yeah,
I think you've got to learn to rest well. Like Christmas has been and gone, and as much as I love the family and the connectivity, and then the rest days, I can really do one day off really well because I've worked really, really hard. When it's day 3 of having a series of days off, I'm not very good. I'm already itching and I'm wriggling and I'm wanting to pull out something and do something. So you've got to learn to, if you're not very good at staying the pace, you've got to learn to stay the pace. If you're not very good at resting, you've got to learn to rest well. So I'll do spa days, I'll do walks, I'll do just really good things that revive me, holidays.
Spa days.
A friend who you can sit with and you actually feel like you can really just breathe with, and you're not even maybe talking about real stuff, just someone that you can actually exhale, like you said, really take a long breath out in their company, and there's no judgment.
I love that. Thank you, Anita. I have had an absolutely, insightful conversation with you, and I feel like we only just scratched the surface. How did you feel?
I feel like we need to catch up again. Like we should book in 6 months. Let's catch up.
Yes, absolutely. But thank you for coming on the conversation and sharing, your journey with green beans and all that you're doing.
Thank you for listening to Theos today. Please remember to follow me on Podbean or Spotify. Go to the comment section and leave a comment. I love to hear from you on how my podcast is impacting your unique journey. It's always amazing to hear from you. Till next time, remember, you are flawless.